Hello and welcome. My name is Nicholas Haines from the Five Institute, and we're going to be looking at the energy waves for March 2022. We're in the year of the water tiger, which I regard as a year to heal, be rewarded, and leave your mark. Now let's look at the three themes that are going to be coming up in March for us. The first one is foam, mud, and muck. The second one is dissolving trust. And the third one is ancestral energy. Now, if you're not familiar with my work around the Chinese zodiac, then I'm going to link below this video or above this video a 4-minute video exploring the Chinese zodiac and how it all works. You'll also find links to other content I've shared about this particular year, or you could go to this URL. Okay, let's look at the first of these energy waves for March within the context that we're in a water tiger year. As I say, I've got lots of content all about that. But let's look at foam, mud, and muck. Now, whenever you have anything sitting for any length of time, it starts to develop a bit of sediment, a bit of mud and muck on the bottom. Think about a riverbed or the bottom of the sea. Stuff is there. There may also be kind of the odd kind of skeleton. So within this year, as the year starts, often what happens is when we end up with a big wave arriving, which is kind of what happens at the beginning of a year, we get this kind of big surge of energy. And as this big wave arrives, now what it does is it brings stuff up to the surface. It just stirs stuff up. And that's what we've got going on in March. We're right at the beginning of this tiger year. We're coming to the second month of it, but stuff has been brought up to the surface. Now, why is that good? What's good about that for us? Well, if things are on the surface, they're easier to see. We don't have to be a great detective to kind of work out what's going on. It's almost like we've got all these messages in a bottle floating up to the surface for us to see, to look at, to deal with. Now, these things that come up to the surface, what they also do is they give us the ability to have contrast. Okay, this is going on and then this is going on. And when we have contrast, it often helps us see which direction we're meant to be going in. And also when things come up to the surface, it ultimately clears the water below. So what could be coming up to the surface for you that you need to deal with, explore, grow into, etc.? Well, to a certain extent, what comes up for you individually will be based upon your vitality test profile, this balance of 5 energies that we're born with. Now, if you're not familiar and you don't know your vitality test profile, just go to 5institute.com. It's completely free, and you'll find out this balance of these 5 energies. But let's look at each energy now and explore what might be coming up for that energy in order for us to deal with, grow into, etc. So let's look at the first energy. Now, remember, we are all in a water energy year, and next year is a water energy year. So we've got a lot of water energy at the moment. So collectively, we're all going to be having this stuff coming up to look at. And if you've got a lot of water energy in your vitality test profile, you almost like have a double dose of it. Remember, these things are happening for us and not to us. So be aware that stuff is going to come up to the surface at the moment for us to deal with and explore, and we're in a water energy year. So the first one, related to this big question, every energy has a big question they're constantly asking throughout their life, etc. Big question for water energy is, am I safe? Is it safe? So what's going to come up to the surface? Well, there's going to be things around safety, things about safety, security. There's going to be things around sustainability. There's also going to be things around resources. So we're having stuff collectively brought to the surface around safety, sustainability, resources. We've got some old history arriving, and we're looking at that. Is the world safe? It's a big question. So we're being asked to explore that, to really look at that at this moment collectively. And if you have a lot of water energy, we're being asked to do that individually as well. And this resources, am I getting enough sleep? Am I getting enough rest? Am I safe? Is it sustainable what I'm doing and what we're doing? It's all come to the surface at this moment for us to kind of look at and explore. Now, wood energy, what's coming to the surface for them? Well, the big question with wood energy is, am I free? Are we free? So, hey, surprise, surprise, a lot of wood energy stuff is coming up for you around independence and freedom. Have you got your freedom back or your independence back, or is it being taken away from you? Are we really free? Is someone trying to control us? That's, again, it's another wood energy thing, this sense of, am I in control or have I lost control? And it's there to try and help us explore that side of life, to recognize ultimately that we always will have some level of control over ourselves, or certainly our feelings, or are we giving control to other people to decide how we feel? Or There might be something coming up for that wood energy around new ways of thinking or new ideas. Oh, could it be this way? Could it be that way? And if that's your dominant energy or one of your dominant energies in your vitality test profile, stuff will be coming up to the surface for you at this moment in time about these areas. And it's for you to look at, to grow and grow into. Now, what about fire energy? Well, their big question is, am I loved? Do I bring joy? Am I appreciated for who I am? So with fire energy, there could be questions coming up around the concern about a loss of love or a possible rejection. And fire energy is also about us kind of speaking out. Fire energy, it illuminates, it shines a light on things, it allows people to see. It's about communication, enlightenment. So are you being a sense that you need to speak out, but are you concerned around that because you might not be loved, or you might be rejected for what you say, or what's kind of going on there, but yet you really want to voice what you feel, but you might be concerned about that. Remembering, and I'm going to mention this a number of times because it's really important, we've just come out of 2 metal energy years, and metal energy years have this big thing going on around black and white thinking. That's what they generate, because metal energy is a desire for simplicity, and the simplest way to think about the world is in a black and white polarized way. So we have a very black and white experience of the world, people very fixed views. There's lots of stagnation, stuckness that's happened. So with fire energy, very sensitive souls and people, and they might be concerned that if I say something, will I go against some of this black and white thinking and lose love, possible rejection? But yeah, at the same time, I want to speak out. So that might have come to the surface for you to explore. Earth energy, this big question, do I understand? Am I understood? Really important for this energy to be exploring those things, which they will do all their life. So stuff will be coming to the surface potentially around you thinking, actually, I don't understand what's going on. And how do you live with that? How do you explore that? How do you get to understand? Or how do you live with the fact that you don't totally know and understand what is going on? It could be some stuff around you're unsure of support. Do we have the support we think we have? If I was to step out, am I going to be supported? And then this age-old thing that anyone with a lot of earth energy in their vitality test profile, or have come to earth with a lot of earth energy, will be exploring this age-old question of what's the difference between giving and sacrifice? And it's so easy to move into a place of sacrifice from a place of giving. So some of those questions might have come up to the surface for you, this balance between looking after yourself and looking after other people. So as that surfaced at this particular time for you to explore, to grow into, to help other people perhaps. Then metal energy, these things may be coming on up for you if you have a lot of metal energy in your profile. This aspect around perfection and quality, something around vulnerability and reputation, something around loss and letting go. Now remember, I've said, and I'll say again, we've come out of 2 metal energy years. We're in a block of 12 years dominated by metal energy. So of course, we've all had some experiences around loss and letting go, about isolation, around vulnerability, this perfection and quality of this needs to be done really, really well. If it's not, this rejection, this black and white thinking. We've been exploring that for 2 years. But if you've got a lot of metal energy, you're going to be having more things around the perfection and imperfection, your vulnerability or your reputation, or something that you're being asked to let go of, to explore, to recognize that you can be above that and to help you grow. Remember, this is happening for us and not to us. So that's the foam, mud and muck, and clues as to what might be coming up for you. Remember, at the 5 Institute, we've got content and stuff to help you with all of that. Second theme, dissolving trust. Now, when I talked about this water tiger year, I gave some qualities, 5 qualities of water energy. One of them, number 2, was about authority, trust, and fear. So, of course, this year we're going to be exploring that, and that's going to be brought to the surface in a way to explore. So there will be some stuff going on around dissolving of trust. Now, this dissolving of trust could be that you just feel disappointed in a member of your family, or feel disappointed with society. You perhaps trusted that society was going to act in a certain way or be a certain way, or certain things weren't going to happen, and you trusted that we weren't going to have a major conflict in Europe, or people respond in a certain way, or we might be having that going on within your family. etc. And you might just be disappointed in that, and that's kind of part of that kind of dissolving of trust. It could be some really early childhood beliefs and things are being dissolved, and trust again that you saw the world in a certain way, and you're being triggered to really explore that trust has been dissolved ultimately. Or perhaps you trusted yourself in a certain way to do certain things and you perhaps didn't, and you need to explore that. Now, one of the really important things to be aware of, and I keep going on about this because it is the biggest trap in a way at the moment, is this kind of metal energy 2 years we've had. And although we're in this water tiger year, we've still come out of 2 metal energy years. We're in this metal energy block of time. So there will be something going on around this dissolving of trust, remnants of this metal energy. And metal energy can often think that things need to be perfect or things are perfect. And that's the expectation. It's almost like seeing, oh God, that's absolutely perfect. So there might be some dissolving of trust in things that you thought were perfect. And then you get to find out that actually they have feet of clay. And that's that typical metal energy, this, oh, wonderful, perfect, it's fantastic. Oh, actually, I'm disappointed because I thought it was going to be perfect, but it's not. It has this kind of this muck or this mud involved. And we are in a mucky, muddy time. So that might be happening for you. But just be aware, perfection is a game we're having to play. So why is this kind of good for you? Well, one of the things I was exploring at the beginning of this year to say we need to become a water tiger is you need to be able to choose who has authority in your life. And that evolves around trust. Now, I use this choose who has authority in your life. I use the example of newspapers. If you read newspapers in the morning or listen to news and you read them a certain way and they have a certain view, in a way, you're giving authority to the newspapers or Twitter or to the media or whatever it is you do. You're giving authority to that force as to how you feel about the world or how you feel about your day or how you feel in that moment. You're giving them the authority as to how you feel, act, and respond. And one of the things we need to do in the whole of this kind of water tiger year and from then now onwards is to say, okay, I'm going to choose who has authority in my life to decide how it makes me feel. And we've got an extreme example at the moment that it's incredibly tempting to watch and to listen to the news and to read these things because of our fears or insecurity or our voyeurism or whatever it is that makes us want to do it. But remember, we're giving authority to them to decide how we feel. And it is a lot to ask of our unconscious mind and our worries to feel, to deal with that volume of information. So we're having stuff to say, dissolving or true, do I trust them to decide how I'm going to feel? And of course, conspiracy stuff will all stir up and stuff like that. But again, that's us choosing who has authority to decide how we feel about the world and not to get triggered by this stuff that's going on because you're giving the authority to someone else. So there will be something going on around this kind of dissolving of trust. But ultimately, it's to help you kind of believe in yourself. And not as in I am right, because there is this danger of black and white thinking, but to believe in yourself, to recognize that you have the ability to rise above what's happening, see the kind of bigger picture and lean into your power. Water is the most powerful energy of the 5. I think water is unstoppable as a wave when it hits, but it also has this unstoppable power of being able to go round, through and under. It has this flow, this movement to it, but we need to keep a very big perspective, avoid black and white thinking, division, etc., to see things, not go down rabbit holes, etc. And we ultimately, this is a time for us to lean into our power. This is the most important year, I think, in the 60-year cycle for us to go really high and decide how we want the future to be. And that involves us leaning into power. We have this water energy to help us do that. We also have the most powerful animal within the 12 animals. This kind of tiger, this sovereign power, this regal creature, the ability to kind of, again, to rise up and be powerful. We've got this combination of water energy and tiger once every 60 years. And this is the time, but there will be some aspect around dissolving of trust in order for us to move into our own sovereign power. So that might be happening for you. And the third one is there's something will be going on around ancestral energy. Now, let me explain why that is. Now, water energy is related to winter. And in winter, we are at the point of cusp between what has been the past. We're in the present, but we also have a possible future. It's this place of transition between one another. It's also an energy that gives us a very big perspective. Okay, what does the past mean? How I'm in the present, and how will that inform the future? You often have people with a lot of water energy will have this ability to see across and through time. So we're going to be having at the moment this straddling of the past, the present, and the future. We're almost sitting above that, and they're all playing out at the moment. So your past and our past is coming into the present. So it may be that you've got some history or some ancestral energy or something that is just coming to you at the moment, giving you a sense of influence over you. And we're certainly seeing that within the kind of war in Ukraine. There's kind of ancestral energy, there's stuff going on. This is reminiscent of a time that we didn't think we would ever see. And that is very typical of a kind of water energy will do that. It will spread across time and bring in history and bring in things. And you might have in that ancestral energy, that sense of deja vu, revisiting something, or some sense of ancestral influence. And at the same time, we've also got this future influence coming to us as well. And this sense of how will we be looked at through the lens of history? Did I do enough? Did I say enough? Did I act enough? How will I be judged by the future based on my actions now? Am I someone? So that can be very difficult for us to kind of deal with, to have this sandwich between this ancestral past energy, this future of sense of am I good enough? Am I doing enough of a good enough job? How will I be judged? So the important thing, I think, the kind of good thing about this is that we get to choose. Now remember, I'm going on about this because it's really important. We've come out of these 2 metal energy years, block of time, etc. And the last 2 years have been about us recognizing what we value, what's important to us, and what matters to us. But it's also been about us letting go of things, letting go of the past, letting go of things we didn't matter to us. We won't say, this matters to me and this doesn't, and I'm going to get rid of it. And it was the most magnificent 2 years to get rid of things. You can still do it now, and we're being asked in a way to do that, to let go of things, to let go of our past, our history, our ancestral energy, not to fall into the trap of being judged by the future, but for us to be ourselves in the here and now, to us to rise up and lean into our power as individuals in the here and the now. And we are being asked to let go and heal some ancestral energy and to decide how we want the future to be. And again, this year is a pivotal year. It's a significant year. It's a transition year where we start to get to decide how we want the next 60 years to be. And you've been born into this time. So just be aware, we've got a lot of these waves and foam going on, but ultimately, it's about us letting go and again leaning into this power, and some ancestral energy will come to help us and support us, but it also some stuff that we need to let go of and heal to move into the future, etc. So that will be going on at this particular time. And remember, again, we are in a magnificent year. We've got this tiger to help us, this sovereign ability. You've got the water energy mixed together to do that, to you to step into your power in the here and the now. But that may be letting go of old things as well. So those are the 3 main themes: the foam, mud and muck, dissolving of trust, ancestral energy, this interaction between the past, the present, and the future. Now, here are 3 kind of guidelines for you, 3 action steps, 3 things I think you should be doing at this particular time to help you, to support you, and to help the world. The first one is creating magical moments and openings. Now, what I mean by that is that in nature, when you have an opening, new things can grow and new things can start. But if you have no opening, there is no opportunity for anything to be there. It doesn't matter how much you want it. If there's no space for it, then nothing can actually happen. So what we have to do is we have to create spaces where we would sit and try and be peaceful, for example. Now, does that mean just because we sit in that opening and trying to be peaceful, does it mean we will feel peaceful? No. But what it does is it creates an opening and an opportunity for peacefulness to arrive And if we never sat in peace and we were just constantly trying to distract ourselves, or we never sat in hope, or we never sat in prayer, or never sat in a place of love, we never did any of that, then there's no chance of it ever arising. And I recognize it is tough to sit in a place of nothingness, a place of openness, of space, hoping and praying for something, for peace to arrive. But unless you do, then it won't happen. So create those kind of magical moments and openings to allow what it is that you want to come in, whether it's peace or reassurance or kind of happiness or joy or kind of reflection. Create those kind of magical moments. And it's the same with creating a space where you might say, well, I'm going to try and create happiness here because that matters to me. And will happiness automatically arrive? No, but you'll have created an opportunity for it to arrive or help other people. And all of those things, they kind of grow seeds and they start to make things happen. And this is a very significant year that we're in, and March is a significant month. So plant those seeds in this year to heal, to be rewarded, to leave your mark, but you have to create these openings, and we're being really tested as to whether or not we can step into our power to be peaceful, to be calm, to be united, to get rid of this black and white thinking. We're being given opportunities to do that. And unless you actually create space for that to happen, it's going to be really hard. So create those openings, those magical moments for the opportunities to arrive. The next thing we need to really do is to kind of double down into this sense of, I choose to be me. Now, in the Water Tiger webinar, the Water Tiger Masterclass, it was a central theme of I choose. And one of the things we're being really asked to do in March is to say, actually, I choose, but particularly I choose to be me. It's why we've got this whole ancestral energy kind of going on, this past, present, and the future, this idea that our past has said that we should be a certain way. This identity, this sense of self that we're being asked to kind of let go of. And Rina and I wrote the story of boxes, the good, the bad, and the ugly, at the start of this whole big process as we moved into this dangerous area of kind of black and white thinking and narrowness and putting people in boxes. But it was also designed to help us escape from the boxes that we've been put in, this identity, the things that not only have we put in, but we keep ourselves in. So just be aware at this time, it's a really good time to say, actually, I choose to be me. I don't choose to be how society has deemed me to be or decided I am. This is, as we say in the book, it's the secret to human liberation, peace, and happiness. So again, we're being asked to say, I choose to be me. I choose to voice my opinion. I choose to say, this is how I want the world to be. I choose to not be limited by past views or society's views of how I could be or should be. Really important. Again, within this, we're deciding how the next 60 years will be. It is equivalent to 1962, when we said, actually, I choose to be this. And this is what you're being asked to do. And remember, we have this metal energy qualities that there, and this sense of things need to be perfect, things need to be right. So as you choose to be you, don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, I need to be perfect. You know, you're going to be an imperfectly wonderful person just as you are. You're growing into who you are. As one of my favorite things, God doesn't call the qualified. He or she qualifies the called. So you're not being chosen to be you because you're perfect in every way. You're chosen to be you because you're growing into you. So don't fall into that kind of trap around, oh, I'm not good enough for perfection, that will go around at the moment. And then if you want help in understanding who you are and your relationships and how we're all getting on, then we have the book, The Art of Kind and Flowing Relationships, that again, I wrote for this particular time to help you understand why you are you and why you are wonderful being you. And imperfection is absolutely fine. Then the third thing, action step I think you need to do is to welcome expressions. Now, what do I mean by that? Is that we're all at the moment, we're voicing how we want the world to be. That's the job at the moment within this year to start to form over the next 6 years. How do we want the world to be? And we're being shown contrast to say, actually, I really don't want the world to be like this. But we've also got that kind of black and white thinking. So be aware there will be black and white thinking as people express how they want the world to be. And some aspect of that can be stressful for us. So welcome expressions and recognize that some people will really struggle with anything other than their worldview. But ultimately, what we're meant to be doing at this moment is it is the formation of something new. And when things are forming, they are imperfect by their very nature. But yet we have this trap that we're wanting perfection from all this metal energy, but nothing is going to be perfect at the moment because it is forming. So have, as these expressions, welcome the expressions of people's desire for the world and how we want things to be, and recognize that they're not going to be perfect, and anyone's thinking is not going to be perfect. And you don't have to agree with how they want the world to be, but don't expect it to be perfect. Just and voice your opinion. It's about us having conversations and curiosity. So welcome expressions of people and be open to possibilities, because that's what we're being shown at the moment. There's also may well be kind of expressions within your body. You might have old aches and pains, things coming up as expressions. Now, if something is serious, should you go to the doctor? Yeah, you should get things looked at, of course. But your body may well be expressing things. Again, it's like this foam, muck, and mud stuff coming up to the surface. But your body is also maybe going to express certain things. And welcome that to get you perhaps to look at, are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating well? Are you looking after yourself? Remember, we're in this water energy year, which is about sustainability, resources, looking after ourselves, etc. So we may be shown certain things, and they might be, again, this contrast to say, okay, this is what it's like not to feel well, and this is what it's like to feel well. Or this is what it's like to have this or not have this. And we're being shown contrasts in order for us to choose as to what matters to us. And we've had 2 years of exploring what matters to us and what doesn't matter to us. And this is stepping into this place of voicing that. And we're being given contrast and difficult situations, and they are difficult for us to ultimately choose. So these are your action steps to create these kind of magical moments and openings. Without them, things can't happen, but they work with those. Look to kind of choose to be yourself in your imperfect or your most wonderful, glorious form. And to welcome expressions of how we want the world to be and not fall into the perfection trap. And if your body is expressing certain things, listen to it, take note of it, however that may be. And your three, so there are your 3 main themes. We're going to see in March, foam, mud, and muck. We're going to see some dissolving of trust, ancestral energy coming back and forth. Now, if you are part of This Vital Life, monthly membership, I thank you for being part of that. We're going to be doing some more content to help you understand this month to do with that. We've got some content around some mind school to help you thinking, looking at how the world will be. I've got some wonderful content this month. We've got conscious questions for you to deal with emotions and different things to support you. We've got Q&A sessions, so if you're part of This Vital Life, all of that to support you. If you have been part of the Majestic Water Tiger class, masterclass, we have got everything in that masterclass that you need for this year, plus full explanation about what's going on with this year. So if you've been part of that, dig into that content. Everything is there that you will need for this year to heal, be rewarded, and leave your mark. If you're struggling emotionally at 5 Institute, we've got the 5-day mindset makeover. We've got an event starting on the 28th of March. And that's a really great way to take control of your thoughts and your feelings. And that's there for you if you want that. So have a fantastic March. Recognize stuff does come up to the surface. We've got a lot going on this month, but I hope I've given you enough guidelines to surf those waves. And my name is Nicholas Haines, the 5 Institute, and thank you very much for watching, and do engage with us at the 5 Institute. Thanks very much. Bye for now.